Hi, and welcome to Cat Run Figures. I am your host, Caitlin, and today I have a comic review for you guys. So yeah, I know it's delayed. We had a bunch of Frost villains attacking our state last week. They called it a polar vortex. I know. But let's be honest, Killer Frost teamed up with a bunch of other ice villains and just attacked the Midwest. It was crazy. Last week, I did not get to the comic shop. It was way too cold to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have a comic review for you guys. This is Heroes in Crisis, issue 5. And let's dive right back on into the story, shall we? Alright, so we get to see another confessional, and in this time it's Booster Gold, and he's dealing with the fact that he has a smudge on his goggles. Yeah, it doesn't really matter the fact that he's cleaned them multiple times, and, it's perfect. He knows the glass is crystal clear, but to him, he sees a smudge of blood that belongs to another Batman. A Batman who killed himself in front of him. That's a little reference to the Tom King run on Batman that is currently going on right now. If you didn't read that storyline, Booster Gold screwed up a lot of stuff. But it's still affecting him. Because even though he can see through it, there's still blood there. So back in the current timeline, we see both Blue Beetle and Booster Gold just hanging out, eating pizza, drinking a couple beers. I don't care if it's not actually type of beers. They're beers. They're bros. We know it is. But they're watching TV and just kind of hanging out in a safe house. Cracking open another one and trying to discover what their next plan should be until it hits Booster that clearly they should go after the Flash, because clearly he must have a bunch of evidence collected by now, and they're just gonna knock him out and steal it and figure it out before Batman and the Flash. And that's when Blue Beetle tells him that's probably the dumbest idea you could ever have. It's like, yeah, but remember, Batman and Flash are smart, and they would never think we'd do something that dumb. So it's perfect. Alright, so back into the confessional tapes, we get to see Commander Steel and deal with everything he's dealt with. So, of course, he has died multiple times, he's been brought back multiple times, but it's affected him, and he remembers quite a bit of it. And he really doubts that this time it'll stick. So it's pretty sad, actually. Every time he comes back, he knows it won't stick, because it never does. So it's pretty harsh. So back into our current story, we see both Batman and Batgirl. Batman has Skeets, and Batman's telling her, hey, I went through Skeets. He's not hiding anything. He doesn't know where Booster is, and I put him through everything. And Batgirl's telling him, well, it wouldn't hurt if I went through it, clearly. And a little bit of back and forth until finally they decide that it wouldn't hurt anything. So then we get to see Batgirl take him to the Her system. So back with Soups and Lois Lane, he's dealing with what exactly needs to be done and everything, with Sanctuary being released and the public kind of being afraid how exactly they're going to deal with that. We find out that there's a press conference that's scheduled, and ultimately it's got to be dealt with. There's another of the confessional tapes. This time it's Solace. And Solstice, she suffers just like the rest of them. I gotta tell you, each time I see one of these, it kind of hurts me as a DC fan, like to the core, honestly. Because I understand each one of them has pains and struggles through things, but it's like you never want to see characters that you care about suffering. So back with Batgirl and Skeets, she's for some reason brought him to a jungle gym. And the playground, it's empty of kids, but she's got her system there. And I think it's kind of odd that she ties Skeets to some of the metal there. And Skeets is telling her that there's no way her system is going to find where Booster is, because he doesn't know where Booster is. And Batman already searched through everything. Batman was very forceful. And that's when she says that doesn't matter what he said or where he looked or if he knew or not, because he denied it, hid it, he'd come right out with it. Said, and then she asked him the question whether or not she's good. She says that she doesn't know. She tries to be, but she's pretty sure that her friend doesn't try to be. Skeeta, Park and Mita had a secret, tried to keep her. He told Girl Bat he'd never tell, so Harley sent him straight to hell. Yeah, I'm sorry about the Harley. I'm really bad at Harley, I'm not gonna lie. But definitely very excited with the idea of Harley getting the information out of him. Not gonna lie. So back at Flash's lab, he's once again going through the case and seeing if they overlooked anything. And that's when Booster Gold surprises him and, somehow is actually able to take him out. Which, of course, Booster is just as surprised as I am that actually freaking worked. So back to the Protector. He was a anti-drug hero that was pretty involved in the 80s. But, he was doing a lot of drugs and stuff behind the scenes until everything was just kind of bad. But back at the press conference with Superman and Wonder Woman. And they've prepared a statement, and in it they're talking about the lives that were lost and the fact that heroes do everything they can, not because they're perfect, not because they're 100% brave, it's because they fight for what's right, and they do suffer, and they do deal with a lot of scars and a lot of pain. And ultimately, it's because they overcome this pain. That's what makes them heroes. But at the same time, the press conference is currently going on. Both Booster and Blue Beetle are going over all of the evidence that was found at Sanctuary that they stole from the Flash. And it keeps going back and forth between the press conference, ad-libs, and moments that are currently going on with different heroes, including both Harley and Batgirl arguing over whether or not Harley is allowed to kill Booster or not. And I gotta tell you, that's kind of awesome. Yeah, there's a dragon hanging out. Because, heroes, they're gonna do whatever they need to. And there's a really great page where we see moments throughout with Adam, with Swamp Thing, Zatanna, my favorite, my girl Starfire, and Aquaman, and all of their current storylines that are currently going on throughout DC. You know, just a little shout out to those who may or may not be on World right now, or may or may not be involved in the story because they're dealing with their own storylines currently. But ultimately, Superman's just telling them that they're not perfect, that Sanctuary exists to try to help the superheroes with everything that they endure being heroes. And I do have to tell you, the shadowy figure lifting the rose that Harley threw into the rivers of Gotham in order to say goodbye to Poison Ivy, that's saying something. But ultimately, as we close out the story, Harley, Batgirl, and Booster Gold all come face to face. So what exactly is going to happen at the end of Heroes in Crisis? We do have another 4 issues coming up, so I don't really know. I definitely don't believe that it's the two who have been set up for this. I definitely don't think that either Harley or Booster had anything to do with this. There's a lot of pretty big revelations in the story, including the fact that Wally West actually died before the attack on Sanctuary. You know, the storyline came out a week ago, so I'm sure all of you had it spoiled by the internet the same way that I did. But what exactly does that mean? Who exactly is involved in the killings at Sanctuary? And where's it going to go with the next 4 issues? I am truly obsessed with the storyline and the story that Tom King is trying to tell here as far as mental health goes, and just the struggles that heroes do endure and all of the pains that they suffer through. Also, gotta tell you, Clayman's art is gorgeous and is definitely keeping me entertained throughout this run. So hopefully no more of my favorite heroes die throughout, but you know, story like Heroes in Crisis, you know some heroes are gonna die because it's a crisis. Heroes die every crisis, unfortunately. So that is it for this episode of Cat Run Figures. Please do give me a like if you like this video. Comment below and tell me whether or not you picked up Heroes in Crisis issue 5 and whether or not you are enjoying the storyline as much as I am currently. Also, subscribe to my channel for more comic book content. I did do reviews of the first 4 issues already on the channel, so please do check those out if you haven't already. And yeah, until next time, I'm your host, Caitlin. Bye.